Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to not the Jim Lemmy Show. This is Shadow and Sun, and we are doing things. I don't even know why I have this.
Today we're going to be dry brushing some of the Dungeons and Lasers pieces that we've already spray painted, done a couple of base coats on things. We're going to be using the cheapy paints. This is a dark gray. We're going to be using this 2 blue. Maybe we'll be using the territorial beige on the wood planks if we have enough time. Do a little highlighting with the white. For those of you unfamiliar with dry brushing, we're using makeup brushes instead of good old-fashioned paint brushes because this gets the job done just a little bit better. Get a bit of paint on your brush, and then you wipe as much of it off as possible onto a paper towel. When you start to see very little paint coming off, you're about there. I always start in the middle, and as you can see, the paint will hit only the raised areas, missing the mortar in between the stone blocks. Try to make sure you get the edge here so you get a nice frame for what you're working on. Don't worry, you will get paint on your hands because this is painting. Dries pretty fast. My son here is going to be using the 2 blue on some of the Warlock Altar and the Hall of Heroes pieces. Go ahead and grab a piece. Grab one that hasn't been done.
Yes, I'm aware of that. No, it's just...
Always go in one direction. You can always do the second coat in the other direction to make sure you hit everything that you're looking to hit. The dark blue is not going to show up very well at first. You're definitely going to have to do 2 or 3 coats, but this gives it a sort of colder look, and it will give some contrast to some of the other pieces in your collection. I chose the Warlock Altar and Hall of Heroes as opposed to the main sets from the core set to use the 2 blue on. When you're done with the dry brushing of blue, we go back and then go over it with the dark gray to get a pretty nice effect. I think we have some examples here of what it would look like. You can see the blue popping out, peeking out between the cracks, and sort of soft undertones there. That's what we're looking for on these particular pieces. You can see we've already finished a few pieces from the Warlock Altar and from the Torture Chamber. They've been dry brushed in several different colors, a little bit of ink here and there on the wood and backgrounds. And if you get paint into the cracks where you don't want it, you can always use a wash and it'll seep into the cracks and hide any mistakes you make. You also notice here the Warlock Altar, the bookshelves are going to take a lot of work. We're going to be doing a separate video on that later on in the week. Don't get discouraged. It's going to take a very fine paintbrush and a lot of patience. There's 6 of these in each room, and that's going to be 6 days of painting just to get these single walls done. If you want to do a really, really good job, catch our next video. We'll have some tips on that. How's it going there, Sport?
It's blue.
Okay. When you get that piece completed, try going over the second coat here. See, if you get it on a little too thick, you can always hit it up with an ink wash later, and that'll dull the paint job, and like I said before, it'll get the cracks to show up a lot more. And just do as many coats as it takes till you get the look you like. Whether you want a brightly lit dungeon or if you want a dark, dank looking dungeon. You might want to do a lighter coat so that you can see your miniatures and things like that while you're gaming. Is that the second coat?
Correct.
We also did a couple of pieces from the stretch goals, the stairs. Sorry about that. And the spike pit trap, I kind of like that one. The stairs you got to assemble, and there's a couple of issues with that I'll go over later when I have the stretch goal set all laid out for you guys. Once you've gotten the dark blue, this is what it should look like. I'm going to then go over it with the dark gray. Once again, one direction. Just don't worry, you're going to get paint on your fingers holding these pieces. If you like the effect, let me know in the comments.
Soon, maybe next week, most likely, we will do a video actually making a most likely small dungeon, but we will go over some things that are not really suited for just painting it. Some, well, not really in examples, but some things that could be added in another thing.
Expansion?
Yes. That we will go over probably next week. So yeah, subscribers something, or that's just a thing that is going to happen. Most likely next week.
In one of our later videos. Also, a quick reminder to everybody, August 25th is when the second Kickstarter begins. Make sure if you're interested in this particular project, you sign up as soon as possible. These guys did such a great job on the first Kickstarter. It was literally less than a year from start to finish before people started receiving their product. A lot of Kickstarters take as long as 2 years. I could go into the horror stories of failed Kickstarters, but this one, so far, one of the best Kickstarters out there. These guys really know what they're doing, and they really get your product out as quick as humanly possible. Some of the finished pieces, we've done this one, a couple of these. I'm now going to do a little white highlighting. We use Pringle lids for our paint mixing. You never have enough of those. Pringles, I mean.
I thought you brought that up before, but...
Nope.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope.
I thought you did.
Nope, never mentioned it before.
Oh, I thought you did in the last one we made. Well, it was... Doesn't matter.
For the highlights, I'm using just your basic gloss apple barrel cheapo white paint. Normally I would use Army Painter for everything I paint, but this is too big a project, and right now it's, as everybody knows, it's hard to get anything through the mail. So we're using the cheapy stuff for a project like this. Afterwards, we're gonna hit it with a clear coat to protect our paint jobs. So using the cheaper paint really isn't gonna take away from the overall look. Now I'm gonna, this piece is already dried. I'm gonna do a little white highlighting. In this, you're gonna do a lot lighter stroke than you would have done in your initial dry brushing. Just barely kiss it. If you want, you could even pick out individual stones, give them a different color. I kind of like a more uniform look. And of course, it takes a lot less time. There's literally hundreds of these pieces from our Kickstarter pledge left to do, not even touching the sci-fi set.
Well,
there you go. You want to take a hand at the gray?
sure, I guess.
Okay. This one looks dry. Go ahead and do this one. Dip it in. Flip your paper. Flip your paper. You're good.
I have no idea why I'm boxing right now, but does not matter. Well,
Get a good amount of paint on the brush. Now you're ready to wipe it off on the paper towel.
that might.
A little more.
Yeah.
And all angles on the brush, because you could end up getting a little glob of paint somewhere and then
I think that's
get a
good.
color. Yeah, I think so.
Is that good?
Yeah, just one direction, light strokes, one direction.
Just take a bit more off, because that's a thing that I have done. Just
Let's have a look at that. Might want to hit right there. And
yeah,
you're good to go.
I was going to.
Good job. Good job. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it for today. I smell dinner cooking, and we're both pretty hungry.
And this has been not, and this has not been the Jim Lemmy Show. And I still don't know why I have this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you again later in the week. Please leave a like and a comment. Any suggestions, anything else you'd like to see, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Subscribe if you want to see some of the stuff that we were going to do soon.